But yeah, so you mentioned the starvation mode thing. Um, can I be honest with you here?
Hmm.
It's really not a thing.
Really?
It's it, have you ever watched the show Naked and Afraid? All right. Looking like we're live here. Beautiful. Okay. Let me get Amy in here really quick. So everybody, today we're going to be doing a coaching call with Amy. And basically, I just reached out to Amy, or I had made a comment last week saying, hey, does anybody want to hop on a Zoom call and have it be broadcasted live? I think I have a lot of great conversations with people who are looking to really like improve their fitness and their health and reach their fitness goals. And I wish sometimes that those conversations could be public, because I think there's so much valuable information that you could get from them. I know I learn a lot from them. So let me get Amy in here and we're just going to get rolling. Hey, what's going on, Amy?
Hey.
Long time no see. How have you been?
Good. Sorry, I'm shutting the door so I don't wake up the baby.
Oh, yeah, no worries. No worries. Yeah, so I guess I'll start off with like what got you interested in kind of commenting and reaching out in the first place?
Well, lately I've decided that, I wanted to be more healthy. I wanted to lose some weight. So I've been taking some, just supplements to help out with that and trying to eat better. So,
Okay, awesome. Um, and so when you say that you want to get more healthy, what does that mean to you?
lose weight. I have like the beginnings of arthritis. So, just being able to stay active
Hmm.
and, not freeze up. You know how that is.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And you said you've tried some things recently
yeah.
to accomplish that. What have you tried?
Well, I've been using the supplements from Plexus and
Okay.
helping out. Yeah. And I, like I said, just trying to eat better, less sweets, more veggies and, you know, just healthier meals.
Okay, awesome. And how long have you been doing that for?
Probably about a month.
A month? Awesome. Cool. And have you noticed a difference at all?
I've lost like 8 pounds.
That's awesome. Way
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's really not doing a lot of exercise. So I
Okay,
think,
so
I think once I add that, I think it'll be like, you know, even more.
okay, awesome. So yeah, that's great progress. Um, have you tried anything like in the past before this?
Uh, I've tried to exercise, but it's short lived. Um, I've lost weight, a few times, but it's pretty much a yo-yo. You lose a little and you gain it back, and
Hmm.
I'm probably at the biggest I've been ever. So it was like, yeah, it was
Gotcha.
time.
Okay, gotcha. Um, so in the past, you've done some different things and you've seen some success, but it's kind of like the yo-yo thing, right? Like
Yep.
you lose it and then you gain it back. What in the past, when you've gone through that, what kind of caused you to go back the other way, to yo-yo
Busy
back up?
life,
Mm,
busy life. I have 5 kids, so
yeah,
my life was a little crazy.
yeah,
Um, Stress, just, I don't know, discouragement, because if you gain a little bit and then you're like, you kind of give up.
yeah. So what about losing weight is important to you?
Well, I'm considered morbidly obese, so
Mhm.
that's not really healthy for me. And, I could be, I've had kind of hypoglycemic tendencies since I was a teen,
Mhm.
but pretty much able to control it with diet. I just, I had gestational diabetes with the twins. So the fact that I did makes me a higher risk to be diabetic.
Mhm.
It's been a while since I've been to the doctor, um, but I found out I don't know, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, that I was allergic to corn. So I've been eating a lot of whole foods anyway, because a lot of processed foods has corn in it. So I do pretty well at that. I've never really been a soda drinker, but I can't, unless it's made with corn or cane sugar, I can't, you know, I can't have it. So,
Wow, yeah. So what's important to you about that, about not seeing your arthritis get worse, about not maybe seeing, you mentioned you're at high risk for diabetes, not seeing that come to fruition. What's important to you about not getting those things?
well, my husband has diabetes, so I see, what the effects are of it and how hard it is to control.
Hmm.
Plus, so many medications. And we just found out one of his medications that he was taking for years may be linked to cancer. So,
Hmm.
the less you take for medicines, ideally, is better for your body.
Right, right.
So, um,
All right, so let's kind of flip the frame, because we're talking about like what we don't want, but let's talk about like what you want, right? What you want your life to look like.
mhm.
Um, so let's say, all right, you continue to lose weight, you continue to get healthier, your energy improves. What will that allow you to do in your life, continuing moving forward?
Um, obviously, I've lived longer because, the healthier you are, the longer you're going to live, ideally. Um, I'd be able to, keep up with the grandbabies. That's for one. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I can barely keep up with the kids.
So yeah, so keep up with the grandbabies and the kids, of course. Cool. Yeah, and why is
Yeah.
that important to you? I mean, it's kind of obvious, but I'd like to hear it from you.
Yeah. Well, just, it's depressing when you can't, when you're so sore one day and you can't get up and do the things you want to do.
Hmm.
Or, just that going up 3 flights of stairs, which, by the way, they live on the third floor.
Of course.
Get you winded.
Okay, gotcha. So it sounds like to you, losing weight's important, but what really the reason you obviously want that is so you can be around longer and have like more quality of life energy, so you can spend the time with your kids, your grandkids,
Absolutely.
and also you mentioned the stairs, just like living like your day-to-day life, uh, would be better.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So, um, do you think there anything else in there that maybe we missed that's really important to you?
Not really, not that I know of. I mean, not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Gotcha. Okay. So so you've seen some amazing progress in the past month. I mean, 8 pounds is like fantastic.
Mhm.
And you said you did that mainly by, you said you're taking Plexus and that's been helpful, and as well as, adjusting your diet a little bit, and you're kind of having to eat whole foods anyways because that corn allergy. But I'm guessing you reached out because there was something that you feel like you don't have figured out right now, or you.
Absolutely. Like, I just feel as though, um, with the pandemic, it's hard to get into the, different places to exercise, but, getting there and not really knowing what to do and how to do it. And, just not having the knowledge
Mhm.
to, go further and, get the results that I want.
Okay, gotcha. So you feel like, where do you feel like you lack the most knowledge? Is it in exercise?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
gotcha. So what have you done there for exercise before?
When we lived in Sanford, we had a membership to Planet Fitness. But I've done like different aerobic stuff at the house. Either different videos or whatnot. But it's pretty much like I've done sit ups and push ups. That's walking. Walking is the big thing that I do most of all for exercise. So
Awesome. And how often are you walking right now?
right now, probably not as much as I should.
Hmm.
It's it's hot out there.
It is. It's getting really, really humid. So, so you're walking, but not as much as you should. So how much do you feel like you should be walking?
I probably right now to start off, I should be doing at least a mile a day.
Yeah. Okay. So daily is the
Yeah.
frequency there.
I mean, yeah.
Gotcha.
And obviously, not, every day isn't always possible, but, pretty close to every
Right.
day.
So other than the heat, the humidity, what's keeping you from doing it on a daily basis?
Just busy,
Busy.
busy with family and, the household and,
Hmm.
you know, taking care of everything that goes with that. So,
Gotcha. You light up when you talk about everybody else, and like that's just like your love, like which is really cool. But sometimes, and I talk to a lot of moms about this, like they just give so much time to everybody else that they do put themselves sometimes last, and
mhm,
in many cases, that doesn't leave any time in the day for themselves.
yeah, I can relate.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So, so even if it's just 15 minutes a day, when you see in the physical and maybe even more important, the mental benefits of it, like tell me more about the positive mental benefits that you get just from taking the 15 minutes.
Well, my my lifestyle is a little bit more um, stressful because the twins, they do have developmental problems. One of
Hmm.
them's autistic, and the other one is ADHD, and has some reading disabilities. So um, it'd be a way to unplug and kind of step away from that,
Hmm.
and take that breather. That's when I say mental, like that's that's pretty much primarily what that would do.
Yeah,
So,
gotcha. Yeah, it'd be kind of a breather, like a refresh.
right.
Um, and I'd be willing to bet that if you take that 15 minutes each day, that you'd actually, as when you come back to them and give them your time, that you'd actually come back to them in a better state than you would if you just did it all the time, like
Right.
and didn't take a break. Which is actually like kind of what you want, right? Like you said, like you just love spending time with them um, and, and, and doing this for everybody. But you probably do it even better with 15 minutes
Yeah.
a day. So, so for you, we came in with the question of like exercise and knowledge. Um, but it sounds like what's right in front of you is walking, and that's worked for you. It's just the consistency and sometimes the heat, and it's your busy schedule. Um, but it sounds like that's something that you feel like you could give to yourself every single day.
Right. Right.
Okay,
So, I could, even if I don't walk every day, I could probably do some kind of like aerobic, like in the AC, because like my
totally.
house, my house is like an ice box.
Yeah, yeah, ours is too. We've got the ACs running like crazy. Okay, yeah. So we talked about the exercise a little bit. What else? Anything else right now that you feel you need like clarity on, or I could help kind of guide you through?
Not really, like, just pretty much that's where I'm at, is the exercise. Maybe, I don't know, like I try to eat healthy and I do pretty well at eating healthy, but people talk about, either calories versus fats, and you know, like with Tim with his diabetes, they always said it's better to drink uh, whole milk, because there's actually less sugar in whole milk than there is skim milk, because
Hmm.
they have to add a whole bunch of sugar in the skim milk to make it taste good.
Right.
So, like, the low fat stuff isn't really the best choice in a lot of things like that. So,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, like calorie wise, like there might be more calories in whole milk, for example. Um, but the composition of the macros, the fats, the carbs, the
see,
protein is going to be
macros,
different.
like, I hear that
Yeah,
all the time, but I don't
yeah.
like understand the concept.
So yeah, so what like a macros stands for macronutrients,
Mhm.
and and you have three types of macronutrients: carbs, fats, and proteins. Um, and so yeah, somebody who's, let's say, diabetic, disclaimer, I'm not a dietitian or I'm not a doctor or anything. Um, but if you're diabetic, having higher carbohydrate based diet tends to drive the blood sugar up more because you're more sensitive to it. And so what can be preferable for many people is like a higher fat, higher protein diet,
Hmm.
and then lower carbohydrates. Because have you ever heard of the glycemic index?
Yes. Thought I
Right.
brought
So
my water with me, but
oh,
apparently
yeah.
I don't.
So the glycemic index, it's a way of measuring, all right, if you eat this food, how quickly does basically like it have a response for your blood sugar to spike and whatnot, and how much will it spike? So the thing is, that's done in a vacuum. In many cases, when we eat food, we're not just eating one particular food, we're eating multiple foods, and that affects that. So if, let's say, you're any normal person, if I went and had like a bottle of Coke, right, with tons of sugar in it, right, that's gonna spike my blood sugar, and then uh, and then it will drop back down because my body will regulate it. Um, but if I had a bunch of Coke and then I mix that with maybe like protein or a fat, it's going to slower the digestion of the absorption of that. And so I wouldn't get as big of a spike. So in that case, that's where like the whole milk versus a skim milk thing makes sense, you know?
Right.
Um, and yeah, so, um, but at the end of the day, if the goal is weight loss, all that really matters is that you're in a calorie deficit. Are you familiar with that term at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find that when I'm tracking, like I've used like I have a Fitbit. I've tracked like my food intake and whatnot on that or on my phone. And I find sometimes that I don't eat enough
Hmm.
on a regular basis. Like especially when I first started the plexus, like I was like, okay, so I need to make sure I eat because that makes me even not want to eat even more because it, has a hunger control.
Hmm.
But like that's, I try to eat healthy food when I do, but like I feel as though I don't eat enough. And sometimes that can do the opposite.
When you say enough, do you mean like calories or do you mean like amount of food?
Calories,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. So there's the great thing about like calories and weight gain and weight loss in general, um, is that like it doesn't lie. It's the law of thermodynamics. And basically, like that if you're losing weight, like if you've lost 8 pounds in a month, that means that you're eating less calories than your body, is burning.
right,
If your weight maintains, then that means you're eating the amount of calories on average
right.
that your body will need to maintain and then gain. So if you ever like are wondering, am I eating enough calories? What I would say is, well, what's your goal? So your goal is weight loss, and
Mhm,
so you're losing weight. So you're eating less calories and your body needs to maintain your weight.
mhm.
But um, but also like 2 pounds a week, it's a pretty quick pace. Like 1 pound a week is a little bit slower approach, but you might find that you can eat a little bit more and you feel more satiated and full
Right.
from doing that. So not eating enough. I don't know. I guess your weight is really like your weight and the fluctuation and the change in it is really like the best measurement on if you are eating enough or not.
Right.
Because if you are not eating enough, you will be like losing lots of weight and you'll feel like complete garbage, and but also like losing weight, and you can lose weight and not be eating healthy too.
Right.
100%. Like let's say for example, all right, you need to eat 1,500 calories a day to lose a pound a week, but you could eat all 1,500 calories for in like one blizzard at Dairy Queen, and then like you would be so hungry. And you know what I mean? Like if you eat a 1,500 calorie blizzard, like that actually makes you hungrier. It does not help.
Yeah.
Or you could have like six salads and a bunch of meat, and like it's way more volume of food, it's whole foods, right? Like you
Right.
said. So, um, do you when you say I'm just trying to break down like when you say you feel like you're not eating enough, do you just feel like you're hungry a lot?
No, I did. I just I feel as though if you eat not enough on a regular basis, like your body's like, oh, goes into starvation mode, and then it won't burn anything that
Yeah.
it should. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So
Yeah. So if you're and have you felt that in the past month, would you say?
not in the past month, no.
Okay.
Of course, I really haven't had the hunger, so I do have to make sure I'm, stopping in the middle and eating like healthier. But I have found that I don't feel the need to snack, like this, the salties and the sweets, because
Hmm.
Plexus is pretty much just, it's like a detox. Like it helps with probiotics and prebiotics, and so a lot of the weight that I lost the first month was just fluid,
Hmm.
only because you're supposed to drink. They say half. Another person told me like 100 ounces is plenty, because
Hmm.
I was drinking like 140 ounces, because
Oh,
that was
dang.
half of my, yeah, that's a lot of
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
But you go to the bathroom a lot, so you're flushing out your kidneys and all that.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. No, probiotics clean you right out. Okay. Um, Gotcha. And how are you tracking your progress in any way other than your weight?
no, but I'd like to.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, so I guess a good place to start for that is, is taking measurements.
Mhm.
Normally like doing your neck, doing your wrist, the middle of your bicep, your belly button around, and then in like the middle of your butt cheek coming around in your waist.
Okay.
Those are some good areas to start. And
Okay.
I would do those measurements once a month.
Once a month.
Yeah.
So neck, wrist, arm,
Yeah. Oh, I forgot chest too.
chest, and then
Yeah.
waist on the belly button, and then like hips.
Yep.
Pretty much.
And
Okay.
this is kind of annoying, but because there's a level of human error in it as well. Like you could
Mhm.
mess it up. So what I like to do is do it 3 times and take the average.
Okay.
Unless like one is completely off, then I might just take the average of the two that aren't completely off.
Okay.
Um,
I I've measured myself. You know, I, I'm kind of like familiar with the areas and where to measure.
yeah, yeah.
I have to order things online a lot because they don't really sell like bigger girl clothes like in normal places. So,
Yeah,
they're like,
yeah,
they tell you where to measure and, to figure out your size. So,
yep. Okay. Um, yeah, as long as it doesn't, yeah, as long as it's like you're measuring in the same spot, that's all that matters.
mhm.
That and then pictures are always helpful. 1 month at a time, and a front, a side, and a back photo.
Front, side, and back.
And
Okay.
then with that, try and keep the lighting the same
Hmm.
because like the lighting can make a huge difference, you know.
Right.
Um,
I,
so
I think a lot of things probably like distance and
yeah, you can scale the photo up or down. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
you have to draw a line and say, take the picture here. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah. So you mentioned the starvation mode thing. Um, can I be honest with you here?
Hmm.
It's really not a thing.
Really?
It's it. Have you ever watched the show Naked and Afraid?
No. Yes. I have.
So Naked and Afraid, like they really don't get to eat much, and they lose a lot of weight. Um, because at the end of the day, if you are in a calorie deficit, like your body can't, like there's really no way that your body can like hold on to energy
Right.
and like in store it if you're not putting anything in. Um, However, like the argument behind starvation mode or like, what people often say is like your hormones change and things like that, and it can slow down your metabolism, and so you don't. But often what happens is like if if you feel like you're eating such a little amount of food, you'll go like 5 or 6 days of being like 100% on. And
Hmm.
like in your mind, it feels like I am doing so freaking good. Like I didn't mess up once. But
Yep.
then it's so extreme that on the seventh day, you basically eat the amount of food. And it doesn't seem like a lot of food because when you eat like processed foods, it's not a lot. Like seven
Right.
chips is 140 calories. Like it's insane. So it feels like you did so good throughout the whole week, and then like you have this one day where you basically broke even, and then it feels like you've been starving yourself all week, and then you had like one binge, and then now for the week you're even,
Right.
and so it's deceiving. But that's why sometimes it's better to not go so hard all week and be in like a crazy deficit. Instead, like just be in a smaller deficit and do it consistently, so you don't feel like you're stretching yourself too thin.
Right. And
Um,
then you don't fall off the wagon.
right, exactly. Um, so yeah, so at the end of the day, like if you just how often do you weigh yourself?
Daily, which is
Daily?
probably not.
It depends. It depends. So like I'm a proponent of weighing daily with if if you can use it in a productive way.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, the only reason we'd ever take measurements, the only reason we'd ever take photos or take your weight is because it gives us data on how we are doing, is what we're
Right.
doing helping us progress. And that can give us a better idea of, all right, what should we do now? Do we keep doing the same thing? Does something need to change? But if you find that weighing yourself daily is not driving like a different action,
Right.
then there's no point to do it, because all at that point it can do is like make you feel like crap. If it go because it's gonna go up and it's gonna go down, like that's to be expected.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel that way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That I think a lot of times fuels the the failure, gives the
Yeah. So here's what I like to do. So I track my weight every day. And there's a great app called Weight Gurus that you can get on your phone.
okay.
And here, I'll show you in my screen. I'll see if it pops up. Um, so I don't make judgments on if I'm doing the right thing on a day-to-day basis. I do it over like a week to 2 week basis. And for women, you may even want to take out to 2 weeks to 4 weeks, just because your bodies are a little bit different than a guy's, right? Um, so all right, so you can kind of see here. This is like what my weight graph looks like.
Okay.
And this week, I have gained 2.4 pounds. And I think, what, since Monday? So, like, the last 5 out of 7 days, my weight has gone up. And if I took those weight increases, uh, like, to heart for the day to day, like, it would completely screw me up. Because if you look at my trend over the past month, or sorry, that's my actual trend. It's going down. And I mean, just look at the fluctuations, right? So I try not to make a judgment based off of the one day.
Right.
But the way that you can do this is figure out, all right, try and do the same thing, or like the same amount of calories, the same amount of exercise as consistently as possible, and do it for 2 weeks and
Hmm.
see what happens. And you want to look for that trend line. And if the trend is down, you're good. If the
Right.
trend goes straight, then it's like, okay, like, hey, I'm doing a lot of good things for my health, but I may either just need to exercise a little bit more. Often the easiest thing is just drop your calories by like 100. And then if it's up, then then you also probably want to drop your calories. Um,
Now, why? Like, what should I shoot for calorie wise?
gotcha. So how tall are you?
5. 5.
Let's see.
I mean, I was 5'5.5" when I was in school, but
Yeah, lost an edge. Let's see. All right, so 5'5". Cool. And if you don't mind me asking, what's your current weight?
it is 184.
Okay,
I mean 284. I'm sorry.
284. Okay, got you. So let's see.
That's if I was 184, I'd be pretty close to where I wanted to be.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. So 5'5", 30. Hold on. 24. So 145 times 10. 50, 145 times 12. Okay, so I would have you shoot for somewhere between 1450 and 1740 calories a day.
Okay.
And so I'm basing that off your lean body mass.
Hmm.
Um, and in there, you should see a trend of like 1 to 2 pounds a week. Um, at the same time, the other number that I would focus on is don't worry too much about carbs or fats.
Okay.
Um, but focus on your protein. And the reason I want you to focus on your protein is because one, it's really filling. And so if you're eating less calories than you are now, I mean, you're in a deficit now, which is great. But if you're eating less calories, you're gonna want to make sure you're as full as possible, right? And protein helps do that.
Right.
So what I'd like you to do is shoot for 145 grams of protein a day. No, look, that's not the easiest thing to do, especially if you haven't been eating that.
That is a
Um,
lot of
yeah,
protein.
yeah, isn't it? So the reason is because um, is you have a decent amount of muscle, um, and because you have a decent amount of muscle, it takes a little bit more protein to maintain that because our muscles constantly turn over
Right.
protein, and so we need to have enough to maintain that. And if you are losing body fat and you're not replenishing your muscles, then you will also lose some of your muscle mass, and we don't
Right.
want to do that. We want to prevent that as much as possible.
Right.
So look, but you don't have to start with 145. What I
Right.
would say is if you're tracking your food like you have in the past, um, then just see where you're at. Like for 1 week, track, see where you're at for your calories, see where you're at for your protein.
Hmm.
And then let's say your protein comes to like 85 grams. Then I would just say, all right, shoot for 100. And then try and get 100 for a while. And then once you master that, then go for 125 and build your way up. Um, versus trying to just like, I mean, you could go for it, but it's very hard because you're gonna have to make such drastic changes to
Hmm.
do that. Again,
Absolutely.
you might be close to it though. Like I just don't know. And all you need to do is track your food to figure that out. So
I mean, I eat usually breakfast time. I eat usually 2 eggs, a couple pieces of bacon if I have bacon, or sausage.
mhm,
Um, I'm not really a cereal person because 90% of the cereals have corn. But I
right.
have found a few like granola type um, that has high protein, like that says high protein in it.
Mhm.
But that's pretty much, like I said, I pretty much eat whole and very like there's very few ingredients in the stuff that I do eat because there's no like byproducts and all that junk.
Right. So with your breakfast, for example, it sounds like you get like a good amount of protein there.
Hmm.
Um, the fat levels might be a little bit high, but that's okay as long as it fits within your calories. And that's something that you'd have to figure out and kind of divvy it throughout your day. What I
Right.
would suggest doing is try to add in a vegetable, some sort of vegetable in every meal. So
Okay.
like, do you eat how many meals a day do you eat?
I usually eat 3, and sometimes
3.
I'll eat like a snack.
Yeah. Do you like vegetables or do you have like any like
No, I love
do
vegetables.
it?
Like,
Okay.
yeah. Like last
Awesome.
night I had a salad with um grilled chicken and like I buy the like the Walmart chopped salads, and this one had grilled chicken and bacon in it, and then I added an
Yeah.
avocado to it. So love
Nice.
avocado.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I would say, you know what really works well, that I love because it's like super quick is, but it's not like you don't really lose any like health benefits to it, is steam fresh vegetables. You just like throw them in the microwave.
Yeah,
Um, and so those are pretty quick. And yeah, if you just get a serving of that, it's just going to help also fill you up more and keep you full longer. So that way, like it helps reduce like calorie intake or like reduce
is
some
there
of the cravings.
any type of vegetables I should avoid?
Not really. I mean, corn probably.
Can't
Definitely
imagine.
avoid corn. Um, yeah, no. So yeah, like nobody ever really gained weight from like overeating vegetables or fruit is my philosophy, you know. Normally it comes from like processed foods or like um I think you'll find when you start tracking like some of your breakfast stuff too, like you'll be like, "Oh dang, like I didn't realize how many calories are in like a sausage or like that," because it is just a higher fat food. But it
Yeah,
doesn't mean you can't have it. It just means you almost come to the decision of, all right, if this is like my calorie goal, 1450 to 740, um, would I rather have this and have like a littler amount of it, or would I rather have more of something else?
right.
That's kind of the decisions that you'll kind of find you have to make.
Hmm.
Um, and it doesn't mean that you can't have it though, you know.
Yeah,
It's just understanding like what does one portion look like for you. Now the other important thing with that calorie goal that I want you to know is that 1450 to 1740 is like a range that you're going to lose weight in. If you hit 1900 calories, you're
hmm,
probably still going to lose weight.
right.
You're just not going to lose it as fast. Um, so like, you know, probably like 2000 to, I'm not exactly sure where your maintenance calories would be, but if you ever went over by 100 calories to 1740, it's not the end of the world
Right.
at all. Maybe if you did like 3 or 4,000 calories, that might mess like your week up a little bit,
Right.
but it's okay. Like, because you can just, get start over the next day. And you never really stopped in the first place. You know, you just part of it.
Right.
Um, so there. Any other questions in that realm?
Well, I think
No?
you've explained it pretty well.
So for you, I want to make sure that you walk away with like some actionable things. So so that you have clarity on that, and so you can just start working on it. So what are like some of the next few action steps that you want to start taking for yourself?
Uh, just definitely incorporating at least 15 minutes of exercise every day.
Hmm.
Um, trying to stay under 1,700 calories,
Hmm.
and just tracking it so I can see where I'm at.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's a great place to start. Um, and let's see. Now that we talk about tracking, there's one thing I do want to point out that's extremely important, and a lot of people make this mistake when they're tracking, and that's the food that you track is only as good as like what you input. So, for example, you might say, all right, a tablespoon of peanut butter, and you can punch that in, right? And
Right.
then you could take a tablespoon, scoop it out. But often, like what a tablespoon is read in the calculator there, and what is actually like in your tablespoon, this is normally much more than 1 tablespoon. So what I recommend is getting a weight scale and weighing your food.
Okay. I think I have a scale actually at home. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not digital, but I.
So, um, yeah, and a digital one's like $10.
Yeah.
And it's totally worth the investment. Because you can like tear it and like see that, it just makes life really, really nice. Um, well, very good, Amy. Good chatting with you. And yeah, let me know if you need anything, all right?
Okay.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Bye.
Later. Bye.